Hello and welcome. Tonight, there's a fruit fly. Get out of here, fruit fly. Tonight, we are going to be measuring a bunch of items, hopefully in an extremely boring and uneventful manner to help you fall asleep, really. So, the first item, I just threw all of them to the side. The first item that caught my eye is this notepad. This is simple yellow notepad. It has quite a few pages. And I'm noticing there's a little mark on the notepad. It almost looks like a little smiley face, and that's just a little bit of dirt. Because I tore off the last page I was on. So I don't even know how stuff got on there, but to measure this, I'm thinking this is an ideal candidate for a length times width times height kind of deal. So let's see. Let's write yellow notepad. I think some people call these legal pads. I could be mistaken. So length times width times height. And rather than writing it all down the column, I think I'm going to save some paper just this one time. And I'm just going to write the values according in which the manner that I specified they would be in on the page right there. So let's put this to the side, and tonight to do the measuring, we're just going to use a simple little manual caliper. So let's put length, so length times width, and height would be like our depth. So to get a length, I actually want to put the page like this. That's a little bit more comfortable, somewhere in the middle. So I'm looking at 102.6. So that's 102.6, and that's in millimeters. And it's gonna have, let's see, a width just a little bit less than that, if you can believe it. So 102.1, 102.1, and finally height. You know what, I've been wondering how many pages are in this. I could count all of them. That could be an ASMR video in and of itself, but I think if I do something cheeky right now and I measure the depth or the height that we specified, say it's about 6.4. That's 6.4 millimeters in depth. And if we find out how big or thick each sheet of paper would be, with this stuff, I really want to get a digital caliper, but I don't use this enough to necessitate one, mainly just to find out how big a bolt is or something like that, and those are very standard sizes once you get in the ballpark. So what I want to do is I want to grab the paper and then just give it a little bit of drag. I don't want to push it apart or make the space too big. But either way, to keep this simple, because I don't have a calculator on me and I'm not a human calculator, let's just say that's like 0.1. 0.1. What do you think? I'm trying not to adjust it too much. It's like 0.1. I'm holding it upside down. My apologies, I didn't mean to do that. So 0.1. So if there's 6.4 millimeters of depth, and each page is 0.1 millimeters, then all we have to do is shift over the decimal place once, which means we have 64 pages left. Do we think that's accurate? I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You know what? Probably actually pretty close to 64 total pages. So, legal notepad. It's all done. All done. Let's see what's another fun item that we want to do. I don't want to choose a trigger that's going to scare anybody off yet. But I also kind of want to make it fun. You know what? No, let's make it actually kind of goofy. Just because it's still pretty early in said video. What I have here is a flashlight. One that might be used. Just like a small one to put in your pocket, such that when you need to look at a little item in a dark cupboard or space, you can pull it out. But this one specifically is more of like a medical styled one. Every single ASMR artist has one. It's just a must at this point, so let's turn it on. And this is a good test because this is a new lens. And I want to see how the light reflects in and around that lens. I got a little filter on here too. It's like an Instagram filter, but it just makes my skin look a little bit less terrifying, because cameras sometimes they can emphasize things that aren't even that terrifying. But I guess that's just the type of world we live in. So that's just that. Just like that. And yeah, so that's the light. And you may be wondering, how are we going to measure this? Well, we could take it apart. You can measure the batteries, but those are pretty standard. So I think for what I want to do is I want to write down flash light. Faster than the flash. And we're probably looking at something like overall diameter. Because I really just want to know how thick that is. And maybe just some length, so we can figure out if we can fit it in certain containers, packages, lunch boxes, all that kind of stuff. So diameter would equal this, and then length. So that's good. So first, length is going to be easy. Oh, but that's length with button unpressed. So once again, if we're storing it, yeah, that's kind of what I want to see. So I'm looking at 100, and that looks perfectly on the 9. So 139 millimeters would be our length. 139 millimeters for the length. And then to figure out diameter, I probably should have chosen a less soft table. But we can just hold this up. It's a nice strong flashlight. Don't want to press too hard though. I'm seeing about, what is that, 0.38. So 10.3. No, what am I saying? That's a 13.8. 13.8 millimeters in diameter. So flashlight said and done. Let's see. Let's do a tricky one. Let's do a little tricky one. This is just a pillow. It's a pillow if you have a job that necessitates the use of your thumbs for an excessive amount of time. Then at the end of the day, you can just rest your thumbs on this pillow. And from personal experience, I'll tell you, it does wonders. It's an absolute fabulous item to have, to be able to measure and utilize to rest your phalanges on. You ever rest your phalanges? I don't think I rest my phalanges enough. I feel like I have to say this in every video now. I'm covered in cuts and bruises and whatnot. And that's just because I'm just a messy, disrespectful kind of guy like that. So this is as clean and as presentable as I get. So we're looking at something that is kind of a circle, but we live in a three-dimensional world, don't we? So this could necessitate a sphere. Then you look at it, especially with this black line in the middle, kind of resembles a cylinder now. So it's just a cylinder with a very, very short length. So I think if we do length, you do diameter. I think that'll be good. So let's write fancy pillow talk. Then we'll do length / diameter. Like that's diameter. I gotta reposition the way that I'm sitting. And I love equal signs. I use equal signs for everything. So first, let's try and figure out what the length on this thing is, because we can't just measure the black line there. I don't know, at least, I don't think I can. I think I can. On a lot of things, but not in this case. Let's see. Let's just go loosey-goosey on it. Just like that. And with that, we can see it's at 24.15. So our length is 24.15 millimeters. And our diameter, this one could even be trickier, because this is kind of a lumpy little pillow. I think it's just like a soft cotton inside, but it ends up being pretty lumpy. So let's find the least lumpy two parts and take a look at that. So I'm saying 95.4 on the money. 95.4 millimeters is our overall diameter. Our radius would be half of that. And then I don't even think I have to tell you what our circumference would be, because you all know about pi. Did you know I can recite the first 100 digits of pi? Yeah, it's true. And I said that to you, so it must be true. So just believe it. We live in a magical universe. I don't know it anymore. It's funny. I have a really good memory for numbers, but if I have a really bad long-term memory. So in grade 11 or something like that, for Pi Day, they were doing some competition for who could remember the most digits of pi. I think I got close to 100. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I get pretty spooky with that kind of stuff. So, the next item, have we only done 3? By golly. Okay. We haven't really done a true cylinder yet, so let's just take out the lint roller. This is just a little lint roller where I yanked the handle out of it, so it could be used for ASMR purposes on a level of which has yet to be calculated. So, that cylinder, it's pretty nice. I think it's going to be quite similar to the pillow because we have a length, that's overall length of the cylinder. We have a diameter as well, and then we, in this case, actually could have an outer and inner diameter. I also have very, very almost sneeze nositis, so excuse the radically weird faces. But let's get started. Let's have fun with it. So, lint roller. It's a lint roller. And what we're going to do length times inner diameter times outer diameter. So, let's do the length because that one's going to be nice and simple. I like to keep it nice and simple. Okay, so I'm looking at a really good number. It's 102.3. 102.3. That's very close to a different reading we had. So 102.3. So it looks like our yellow notepad had a width that was 102.1. So just 0.2 of a millimeter off of accidentally getting two numbers in a row already. There you go. Let's clean that off real nice. And I think once again we have quite a warped boy, but we could quite simply get an outer diameter of 65.9. 65.9. 65.9. Let's double 65.9. And then for the inner, this one's exciting. So I saw a good meme that was printed out and put on a fridge, but it was something like why I ordered a 3-inch pipe from you guys, and it ended up only being 2.5, and then they asked for a picture to prove that it was the wrong size, and they came back with the caliper like this, and that's a no-no. How dare you not know how to use this very specific item that very few amount of people in the world should know how to use. But what I'm showing you is that this caliper can measure the outside diameter of things, lengths, widths, the inside diameter of things, and it can also measure the depth of things. So this will go to the bottom, this will go here, and once again we'll get 90. Are we getting a different number just because it's squished? Let's see. So I'm seeing, funny enough, I'm seeing 91. Didn't we get 102.3? Oh, I wasn't touching the bottom. One second. There you go. 104.9. 102.3. So I guess because the material's soft, it sinks in those 3 more millimeters. So let's try and get this outer diameter here, or the inner diameter, I mean. So the inner diameter, we know the outer diameter is 65.9, and the inner diameter is a whopping 47.2. 47.2, thank you very much. 47.2 millimeters for that, so keep sticking to the table. Why does it keep doing that? I don't know, I guess it's just some things just happen like that, you know? Yeah, it's weird like that, Let's see, what's something that's a little bit different. So we have the pillow, we have the crunch, we had all that stuff. I don't really want to do that one because it'd be very loud. You know what, we haven't done any liquid sounds yet. So, right here I have just a little ink container. It's quite old. It's still more full than it should be, but the pen I got it with, what are they called? The fountain pens? Yeah, fountain pens. I broke it. But this is a Waterman Paris 50 milliliter intense black ink. And I'm seeing immediately that we could measure a bunch of things on here. So I think I just want to get the overall length and width. I just want to know how big this. That way you can fit in a little box. So ink, nice and simple. And we're going to do length and width. Length times width is going to equal. So first, we're going to want to go tip to tip on here. I think I can only do that standing up. But there's, what do I want to call this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Yeah, it's like a pentagon. It's a pentagon. So it has these edges that stick out right here. And if we get it just right, we should see just a little bit of drag right there, where you can just hear it just barely gets stuck. That's how you know you're measuring it right. I'm looking at 64.1. So 64.1 is our length times just our overall width here. Why not? It's all arbitrary. 65.2. 65.2. So that's in millimeters. And overall, that's actually pretty close to a perfect cube. So I can fit in just a whole whack load of spaces. Just a whole bunch of spaces, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, what's another item I want to show you. So put these to the side so I don't confuse them. Let's do an easy one. Just keep it simple. Take a little break, relax for a second, unwind, and just measure a perfect sphere. The perfect sphere with the softball. I stole this from a bucket about 4 years ago, and that means more to me than you will ever know. Dun dun dun. It doesn't mean that much. It really doesn't mean that much. But since it's a nice little sphere, we're gonna pick 2 sides that I can measure from that don't have any knitting, any stitching, so I can get a pretty accurate reading. Now the problem with spheres is, if the sphere's too big, I won't be able to get to the center of the sphere. And so you can imagine if a sphere is like this big, and I'm only measuring the top quarter of the sphere, I'm not really getting an overall diameter for the sphere. So what I want to do is I want to make sure, hey, is this thing going to the middle? And I can do that pretty easily by just looking at it. And I can actually see it goes precisely to the center, just right smack dab in the middle. So that's very good news. We just really avoided a complete catastrophe. But if we put this once again, nice and gently, it's binding a little bit, let it loose, loosen it up, pull it back, tighten it again. You just don't want it to flex. You just want it to hit that point right there, where it's slightly touching. And I'm looking, shifted it, go back. This was supposed to be an easy one. I think because the ball is pretty rough. You end up catching a bunch of snags. So I'm seeing 70.45. 70.45. So that's the soft ball with a diameter of 70.45 millimeters. Yeah, it's about as accurate as we can get, because this caliper, if you look at it, it actually tells you exactly how accurate, how specific it is. So it can, it has an accuracy of 0.05 millimeters, or 1/128th of an inch. I'm not much of an inch man myself. It's funny, at work, everybody loves to use inches, and my entire life, I've never ever used inches. I like centimeters, millimeters, meters. It made sense, and then when people pull out their 1/128th of an inch, I just thought, what? Just give me the millimeters. 1 millimeter is 1 millimeter, you know? And I love decimals. I absolutely love decimals, but either way, that's a good measurement on the softball. Now, we could very, very, very simply, we haven't really done any crinkles, but I don't really want to do anything too aggressive. Here, this thing's covered in hair. But. It sounds quite crunchy. And you can also tap on it. I'm not saying it's good taps, but you can absolutely tap on it. Scratch the nose. Okay, so this thing's going to be really easy as well. We're just going to have to write down 3 measurements. So length times, actually let's call this width. So length, width, and height, which is our depth again. So foam block on a block. Man's not hot. We're going to do length times width times height. So start with length. Once again, soft item, so you just want to gently touch it. Just a little bit of drag where you can go down on it, kind of hold it like that. You don't actually want to do that. You just want just a fraction. See where it's just barely holding on. So since that fell out and I haven't moved it, I'm seeing 110 and not even 1. So 110.8 would be our length. 110.8 times. We want to do width here. And width. We haven't had a perfect cube yet. That just popped in my head. Quite disappointing. 40.35. 40.35. what we want to do is find out height or depth. Height or depth, really, in this case. So once again, really soft. That's a little bit too much. There, it just glides. And I'm seeing a perfect 21. Couldn't make that up if I tried. So that's 21 millimeters. So the foam cube ends up being 110. What's that over there? Oh, okay, great. Ends up being 110.8 in length, 40.35 in width. That's right here. And then a 21 millimeter height or depth. Well, that's fantastic. As we did the crunchy, we absolutely did the crunchy. What I want to do. It's funny, I have way too many of these items. And I heard some marketing dude many years ago was trying to, get me to sell shirts and stuff. Because apparently that's what you gotta do when you make videos on YouTube. And I wanted to have a bunch of designs. I wanted to have an ungodly amount of designs. And he told me, listen, you silly, inexperienced, smelly loser person. People don't like to have a lot of options. If you give somebody 50 shirt choices, they're more likely to buy none. Where if you just gave them 2 or 3, you'd probably have a sale. Something really weird about that. But also telling. Like, at what point do people have too much, right? That's political. I have a light bulb. I still use light bulbs. I found it very funny. I was watching one of, what's his face? Jojo ASMR's 360 videos, where you can see a setup, and I love being able to see people's setups, and I love the dude, but brother in Christ, you have the worst lighting setup I've ever seen in my life. This guy got like I think he even said it was a $4,000 camera, $2,000 lens, and then he has one light bulb, like regular light bulb, that you twist into your ceiling, just with no filter, no soft fabric or material, just blasting him in the face. I couldn't comprehend it at all. But he makes it work. That's all that matters. And I like to use light bulbs all the time as well. My main light that keeps me illuminated is just a bunch of light bulbs too. But I like to take it a little bit too far. And I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's an 8th one down there. 8 light bulbs equally spaced apart and with like a soft fabric to make it seem like a really big light. You know what I'm talking about. So, next item is a red light bulb. Red light bulb. I'm saying it right. LB for short. And I'm going to tell you right now, I really only care about how long this is and what size threads these are. Because I know it'll fit this way, but the dome, like chandelier type thing, isn't very deep. And then it has a cover on here. It's just got like a big bowl. And so as long as I know the length will fit and the threads will twist into the socket, we'll be good. So let's try and get a length out for this. And I'm saying, we don't have to be too accurate on this one. I'm saying 105.2. So our length equals 105.2. And our threads, I guess you could call this thread pitch. Thread pitch. I want to be able to see this myself, but I'm just going to go from each peak to each peak. And just a little, just a touch more. Oh, and on strawberry picking at the end of today. No, it wasn't strawberry picking. I'm blueberry picking at the end of the day. And I ate so many blueberries. It was amazing. I just wanted to share that. Just playing a game, seeing how many I could throw up into the air and catch in my mouth in a row. I got up to 8. I got overly confident. I was throwing them up super high. But the thread pitch I'm seeing here is exactly 4 millimeters. So each pitch is 4 millimeters apart from the next one. So we can measure the socket itself and see if it'll fit 4 millimeters in the socket. And then, you know what? This will be like a multi-purpose one. This is just a scrub pad. I've used it when soldering. Get it wet. You clean the tip off. Make sure it's nice and shiny. You can use it to clean dishes. But most importantly, you can use it to make ASMR. But in this case, I want to make sure that this freaking thing can make ASMR. And we can only figure that out if we get a good measurement of it. So, scrubber. And we're going to get length, width, and height again. So, I got a length. It's really weird. I wonder why items like this that are mass produced, I wonder why they don't have like a very even number. Like, why isn't it 100 millimeters? You know, just do that. But right now, its length is sitting at 110.35. So length, width, height equals 103.5. Let's get a good width on here. Get really good width. 67. No, 68.5 as well. 68.5 is what I'm saying, where it ends with 0.5 again. Let's try and get a depth on here. Let's try and get a depth. It's very soft. The foam. Once again, we can use that to our advantage. Make sure there's just a little bit of drag. And I'm seeing 17.5. That's just 17.5. 17.5. I like when numbers repeat. You know, I like when numbers repeat. You give me a cube that's exactly 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. And oh gosh, that'd be a great day. But for now, I really hope you enjoyed this measuring. I could probably do this for longer, but it is really late. I thought I'd get through all the items. You know, when setting up a video, I always wonder if I got enough items or if I'm gonna finish way too soon and be like, hey, that's no good. But it's a very, very long, very good long video. That's what really counts. So I'm gonna put the scrubber pad here and say thank you very much for your time. I hope it gave you some peace, maybe relaxed you a little bit. Hopefully helped you go to sleep. I need a little bit of that. I've been
sleep well. Take it easy. And I'll see you next time.